With week 4 in the books, which defense should you be streaming for a very important week 5 fantasy football matchup? Let's talk about that. Hello, everyone. It is me, Matt Record with IDP Plus, here to talk to you about the team, defense, special teams you should be streaming potentially in this very important week 5 of the NFL fantasy football season. Let's get right to it, shall we? So week 4, we had a fun week. Definitely some hit or misses for my advice, but more hits than not. So again, really quick, we're talking about defenses you should be streaming in week 5. For me, a streamer roster percentage 50% or lower. Anyone higher than that, you're just kind of just playing them. Wouldn't consider them a streamer. They wouldn't necessarily be available for you on your waiver wire to then plug in this week in a sort of spot play. It's kind of fun this week, week 5. We finally have some buys, so additional complexity when it comes to fantasy football. So, which team defenses are on my list of ones you should consider to be streaming in week 5? Let's get right to it. So, up first, we have the New York Giants. I know. Did not look great in the first 3 weeks, started 0-3, but had a very, very, very nice game against the Chargers here in week 4. They are rostered in 7.2% of leagues, and let's talk about what they did to a Chargers team that was absolutely rolling before this week. So what did the Giants do? They ended up with 18, giving up 18 points, 2 sacks, a couple of interceptions. Dexter Lawrence had a really fun one there. That was kind of fun to watch. But the main thing here I want to point to is the number of QB hits that the Giants had. The QB, the New York Giants rushers hit Justin Herbert for 12 times. 12 times. So yes, that only led to 2 sacks, but they were all up in Herbert's business. Now, why that's important. The Chargers have one of the better offensive lines in the league. So the Giants are absolutely worthy of being able to be considered to get a whole bunch of sacks, which then leads to other interceptions when QBs are forced to make decisions with people in their face. So the Chargers, they have a great offensive line. We know what they do. The Giants playing with a little more pep, a little more pizzazz with Jackson Dart starting for them. I really liked what I saw in week 4. So going ahead to who they are playing here in week 5, they are on the road against the paltry New Orleans Saints. So the Saints right now are ranked as the 23rd, I guess, best team to be playing against for your special teams. So just for comparison's sake, so think of like the Buffalo Bills being ranked like first or second. So the Saints being ranked 23rd is good for this defense. So I think that going into week 5, the Giants are playing with a little more zest. I know the Malik Neighbors injury kind of hurts overall the team excitement, but the Giants played really well. They still have the rookie running back. Cam Scadaboo also looked really good. So that defense is going to be playing knowing that they can actually win this game because they don't have Russell Wilson leading an offense that's not going to score. So they do feel like they can actually win this game. The Saints are just atrocious, a significantly worse offensive line than the Chargers team that the Giants just played. So I expect the Giants to be able to get after whoever's starting at quarterback for the Saints. I don't know if we're going to be talking Spencer Rattler time to be benched, but I don't know. He's not looking good. 0-10 in career starts. Anyway, I think the Giants are a team that's going to be available for you. I think the Giants are going to be able to get after the Saints quarterbacks, get some nice splash plays, that defensive line finally living up to its potential this year, and then getting some other splash plays. So I know don't feel great about trusting a team that's currently ranked 25th for team defense, but it's all about the opponent. If you are desperate, the Giants are a great team to be considering for week 5. Moving on to the next team, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. So another team that did not have a great start to their year, but looking to build some momentum. So the Chiefs are currently ranked 13th overall, so slightly outside of that standard league size of 12th in terms of overall points scored for team defenses. but they're only rostered in 13.2% of leagues. So they're probably available in most of the leagues that you are in. They just played a very difficult Baltimore Ravens team. So Chiefs, we know, started the year 1-2. It was the battle of the 1-2 Chiefs versus Ravens. The Chiefs at home secured the win, ended up being 2-2. Hard to believe that they could have been 1-3. Hard to believe the Ravens are 1-3. But we're talking about the Chiefs defense. So what did the Chiefs defense do against a very dynamic Ravens offense that has been extremely good up to this point? Well, the Chiefs kind of shut them down. So in terms of the splash plays, we had 3 sacks. We had 8 QB hits. We had an interception by Leo Chanel. Go Badgers. But they generally shut them down. So the Ravens only scored 20 points here. Just a really, really solid team defense win here for the Chiefs. So why do I like the Chiefs here? One, they have some momentum. They, started the year slow. All the talk about them no longer being elite. They're playing with some swagger to be able to show everyone that they're not gone. But they are going on the road in week 5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are ranked 11th, so actually an above average offensive team. So why are the Chiefs here on this list? Well, a couple of reasons. One, there are some pretty notable bye weeks this week, so there's fewer teams to choose from when it comes to these defensive streamers, right? So we're already losing 4 teams from there. But 2, it's really just the vibes. It's really the swagger that the Chiefs have. And the Jaguars are kind of going in the opposite direction. Is there anything there that really scares you? The big plays the Jaguars had this last week were some big Etienne runs, which the Chiefs are really, really good against the run, both on the defensive line and the cornerback spots. With Trent McDuffie doing a really, really good job at tackling their runners. So the Jaguars' opponent rank of 11th doesn't extremely scare me here. I think the Chiefs are playing with some swagger. They're going to be able to bottle them right up and continue the momentum that they have. So of all of these streamers, this is probably my least favorite of the bunch, but definitely I think has the safest sort of floor. I do not see the Chiefs giving up a boatload of points to the Jaguars, so it'll really be dependent on the splash plays. But if you're looking for just a nice, easy floor of points for your Week 5 matchup, I think the Chiefs are a great option to consider. Moving on to the third, we have the Arizona Cardinals. You are currently ranked 9th overall. Arizona Cardinals, currently rostered in 24.6% of leagues. What did they do in week 4? Well, they lost a very fun Thursday night game to the Seattle Seahawks, where the Cardinals gave up 23 points. Not ideal. But they had 3 sacks, 3 QB hits. They forced what looks like two fumbles on the Seahawks. Yeah, they looked really good. I mean, the defense looked pretty good. I mean, the story of that game was Kyler Murray and that offense taking a long time to wake up. Don't know what's really going on there, but we only care about the defense. They look good. So why are they on this list? They are ranked 9th, which is great. So only being rostered in 24.6% of leagues is interesting, as they are a top 10 defense in scoring. But who do they go up against? Oh, they're at home against the Tennessee Titans, who are currently the second to most favorable option for your team defense to face in fantasy. So they are 31st, just atrocious. They just got shut out by a Houston Texans defense, which, albeit, is very, very good. A whole bunch of playmakers on that defense, a whole lot of money there. So being shut out is, of all the teams to be shut out against, the Texans sort of makes sense. But the Titans are atrocious. They haven't put anything together through the first a little bit less than a quarter of the year. So pretty much any team playing the Titans is going to be worthwhile of streaming. So the Cardinals, only being rostered again in slightly less than 25% of leagues, is a perfect candidate to sort of get back on the right side of fantasy owners' minds against, again, just an atrocious Titans team that should be ripe for turnovers, not scoring points, everything that you want. This matchup is just everything you want when you're streaming a defense. If you can go get them, go get them. You will be happy that you did. Okay, moving right along to number 4 for week 5 streaming defenses is the Los Angeles Rams. I know. I think I said last week to fade the Rams, and I was kind of right. I mentioned that they would have an average fantasy game, and that is exactly what they did against the Colts. We were waiting for Daniel Jones to sort of settle down, uh, and he, boy didn't he? So what did the Rams do in Week 4 to warrant being on this list? Again, they played the Colts, but they had 2 sacks, 5 passes defended, 7 QB hits. Cam Curl had 2 interceptions. They forced a bunch of fumbles. Granted, one of them, Adonai Mitchell, just fumbled it out through his own end zone. Not necessarily forced, but hey, still counts. And the Rams just had an all-around solid fantasy day. They did give up those 20 points, which is why they just had an average sort of day. But you love what you see from that Rams defense that has playmakers all up and down the roster on defense. They're available in 23 or 29.3% of leagues. And they're going up against a San Francisco 49ers team that is yet to look truly dynamic. They have a billion injuries. We know Brock Purdy came back this last week, looked okay. But with all of those injuries, it's hard to truly trust that the 49ers are going to really put it together. So the 49ers, for their credit, are ranked 18th in terms of opponent rank for team defenses. So they're a slightly below average team. So why are the Rams here? Well, being rostered in slightly under 30% of leagues with the number of dynamic playmakers that they have, again, up and down their roster, and a very ho-hum matchup against the 49ers, who have yet to truly put it together. Yeah, I really like the Rams this week. They are a defense I trust maybe the most of these 5 defenses we're talking here for streaming. Their matchup is not as ideal as, playing the Tennessee Titans, but you can't play the Titans every week. But I do think the Rams have a really, really solid floor this week for some baseline production with the hope for more. The big thing with these streaming defenses is you are hopefully using your roster spots somewhere else to help bolster your depth, and you're just looking for someone in the waivers that you feel confident is going to give you one of those top 10 finishes. And I think the Rams check off all of those boxes this week, again, going against the 49ers. So go ahead, grab the Rams. They're probably my favorite this week in terms of these streaming options, and play them with a decent amount of confidence. Okay, the final to stream team this week would be the team that the Rams actually just played in the Indianapolis Colts. So they're currently ranked as the 8th best scoring defense and special teams of all the teams in the league. They are rostered in 40.1% of rosters, so they do still meet my criteria for being considered a streamer, but people are more on them than they are other teams that we're talking about. So against these Rams, yes, we know the Colts lost, but they did have a very, very solid, the Colts had a solid 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 4 pass defended, 9 QB hits. They forced and received 1 fumble, that 1 Kyren Williams fumble. So a decent number of splash plays. Getting up to 27 is not ideal, but the Rams do bolster a very, very good offense. So, something's got to give, and especially with how much that the Rams were in the Colts' face. There's only so many times you can stop a Matthew Stafford-led team with Puka Nacua going absolutely nuts. So, moving on to who the Colts will be playing in Week 5, they play the paltry Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, who are ranked 28th right now in terms of the team going against team defenses. So, bottom 4 in the league. The Raiders put it together against my New England Patriots in Week 1, but since then, they really haven't done a whole lot. Yes, Genty looked really good this week. He finally paid dividends for those who drafted him there, and realistically, middle of round 1. But the Raiders don't really have many people that scare you on the whole. Geno Smith, known for not being the best quarterback. The Colts have done really well against better teams this year. Again, that's why they're ranked 8th. They're ranked 8th. Dang it. They're rostered pretty highly there. So Raiders, suboptimal team. Colts looking for a nice bounce back win at home after now losing their first game of the year to a very, very good Rams team. They should feast this week against the Raiders. So you can do far worse than streaming, a top 10 already ranked team going against a bottom 4 Raiders team. This week, to help fill you out during your buys. So, just as a bit of a summary here, probably the order that I would rank these in terms of my favorite streaming options. I think the Rams being number one makes a whole lot of sense. They have the ability to get those splash plays. They're playing against a average 49ers offense right now. Number two would be the Colts. Funny enough, again, another top 10 team defense going against a really, really bad team there in the Raiders. Number three, love the Cardinals against the Titans. That should be a really gross game where the defenses do pretty well. I see the Cardinals maybe romping the Titans a bit here because they've yet to show that they can do anything other than that. So I like the Cardinals. The Giants would be next, mostly because they're playing the Saints, who are bad. And then finally, the Chiefs against the Jaguars. I do think the Chiefs have a pretty good shot of being average, which is kind of what we are looking for when we are trying to stream these defenses. So those are the team defenses I would like to be streaming this week. But now let's talk about the defenses that I would potentially want to avoid with a big ol' asterisk here on one of them, which we will talk about. So the first one would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are currently your team defense ranked number 2. They just keep getting those splash plays for touchdowns, which is, fun when you are starting them, terrible when you're going against them. But this last week, the Jaguars, let's see. Yeah, they had a sack, 3 tackles for losses, 3 QB hits, 4 passes defended. Devin Lloyd had 2 interceptions versus the 49ers, but why they scored so many points would be the punt return for a touchdown by Parker Washington. So, love that. Great. However, week 5, they are playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who looked like they finally figured it out in week 4. So the Chiefs are ranked 8th still in offense, even though it seems like it happens every year. We're like, oh, are the Chiefs bad? No, they're still pretty dang good, and they can put up points in a hurry, especially as they are getting healthy. So, word of caution, if you have the Jaguars this week, I think I prefer some of those streamers over them. You don't trust any team going against the Chiefs, especially when they are hungry, trying to establish again that they are elite again, and seemingly have figured some things out. So, yes, it's great having those nice touchdown plays from your defense and special teams. It is hard to rely on those. So, the Jaguars rank is a bit inflated from that. And I would be fading the Jaguars if you have another option versus, again, a very good Chiefs team that doesn't really turn the ball over a whole lot. The next team defense I would be fading, I have to mention my team every episode. It'd be the New England Patriots. They are currently ranked 5th in terms of team defense. Why are they ranked 5th? I thought your defense was bad. Our defense is bad, at least when you're watching it. But from a fantasy perspective, we aren't the worst. So this last week against the Panthers, we scored, we had 1 sack. We had a single sack, 5 tackles for a loss, no interceptions, but we did have a nice punt return for a touchdown. So very similar to the Jaguars. The Patriots are maybe a little inflated from some of those splash play touchdowns, which is all well and good. You're not going to complain about that. With the Patriots' early season easier schedule, you love to be holding teams like the Panthers to 13 points, and being ranked 5th overall made a whole lot of sense. However, the Patriots now go into a tougher part of their schedule, which starts with a away game Sunday night going against the Buffalo Bills, who are the number 2 opponents ranked team. Obviously, Josh Allen is heckin' elite. He's really good. The Bills on whole can beat you in so many different ways. Yes, I think the Patriots can potentially hold their own for a little bit against this team, but Josh Allen doesn't get sacked. Josh Allen has seemingly figured out the turnover problems he had way early in his career. I don't know. Just feels like a game where even if the score is tight, there's not going to be many splash play opportunities for the Patriots to sort of make that continue being the 5th overall scoring team defense. So just avoid them. You don't want to start anyone against the Bills. It seems like low-hanging fruit. It really is. But, some people just look at the Patriots being ranked 5th and saying, hey, maybe they can keep it going against this Bills team. I don't think it's going to happen. Avoid them where you can. Okay, the final game I would like to talk about, yes, it is here at the end in the to avoid category, but could very easily be on the to stream category. I do think they are owned enough, though, that they wouldn't meet my definition for a streamer, but we want to talk about it anyway. It is the Houston Texans, the fifth, so tied for fifth with the Patriots, ranked current scoring team defense going against the Baltimore Ravens. They are on the road. So the Ravens are the fourth worst team to play. You want fourth worst team for your team defense to be playing this year. Now there's a big little asterisk there. Lamar Jackson left the game this last week in the fourth quarter, I believe, with a hamstring injury. So we have to be monitoring if he is going to play. Now, the Texans, of their own volition, are a very good defense. We've talked about them many a time. They spent a whole lot of resources on their defensive line. They're looking really good. There's been some shakeups on linebackers, and we know their defensive backs are, fantasy elite. So the Texans have a very, very good defense, has the ability to get a whole bunch of splash plays for you, and having them on the whole is a team defense that you want to have. The Ravens, 1-3, are, I keep saying they're hungry. They are hungry. They need this win to get back into, playoff consideration. I mean, starting 1-3, the odds are kind of stacked against you. So I expect that the Ravens will come out firing. But, so generally, yeah, I would typically be avoiding the Texans. Anyone playing, the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, you want to avoid that. That's not, rocket science. However, I'll give you two sort of asterisks with this. One, if Lamar Jackson is not playing and they throw out their backup quarterback, obviously you play the Texans then. You just play them, right? They are not, the Ravens are not nearly as scary. They still might win the game, but rife with opportunities for splash plays. And two, if you are one of those players who is watching this just for your own little research, but you're like, I'm going to keep playing the Texans no matter what. I just want to have one team defense out there. And, the Texans have done it for me so far, so I'm going to keep playing them. That's fine. You can still play the Texans defense with Lamar playing, and they still might be worth it. It's just way more risky than I would like to be when it comes to this very important Week 5 matchup. All right, everyone, that wraps up my Week 5 stream and fade team defenses. Let me know in the comments which ones you agree with, which ones you don't agree with. I'm just excited. Now we have the extra layer of bye weeks that we have to deal with where, your roster construction really is going to come into play here. And, it starts with these team defenses. So with that, my name is Matt Record here with IDP Plus. I hope you have a great Week 5, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.